Hi, soon I'll be heading over to New York's JFK to catch a flight with Air France for the very first time, long haul in business class. It's on their 777-300 series aircraft, and it's actually an overnight flight to Paris. I'm really excited to see how Air France, which is considered to be one of the best airlines in Europe, stacks up to some of the world-leading carriers such as Emirates or Qatar Airways. So let's do it. Air France uses Terminal 1 at New York's JFK, as do many other international carriers, such as Korean Air, Asiana, Lufthansa, Turkish Airlines, ETA Airways, just to name a few. Air France, being a member of the SkyTeam Alliance, allows their passengers flying in business class to use the Sky Priority check-in lane, which wasn't really that crowded here in JFK. There is a dedicated check-in area for Air France's La Première First Class passengers. I hope to fly with Air France's La Première First Class sometime in the future. However, the business class check-in staff were very friendly and courteous. After going through security in New York's JFK Terminal 1, you'll find yourself in the main duty-free area. Towards the right is Air France's first and business class lounge. In JFK T1, you'll find two SkyTeam business class lounges, neither of which are the most impressive, but when I was there, the Korean Air lounge was closed, so my only other option was Air France's own lounge, appropriately named the Air France Lounge. Before checking out Air France's lounge in JFK, I figured I'd make a quick stop and pay a visit to this 777 that would be taking us on a 7.5-hour voyage to Paris Charles de Gaulle. But anyways, let's head on into the Air France business class lounge, which we have access to as a business class passenger flying with Air France. Air France's La Première First Class passengers also have access to this Air France lounge in JFK, and it's really nice in terms of European airline lounges in the United States. The Air France lounge at JFK is actually a pretty nice space with plenty of comfortable seating, and there's also an upper level, which we will check out soon. The lounge itself fares pretty well in terms of seating. Some of the seating you'll find throughout the lounge has some tables, as well as some charging ports and even a lamp. You'll find some more comfortable seating at the entrance area, and the lounge itself also offers some pretty good views of Terminal 8, which is the home of American Airlines here in New York. Let's have a look at the Air France lounge bathrooms, and these ones are actually kind of nice. I mean, of course, they're not as nice as the Air France lounge bathrooms in Paris CDG, but these ones will definitely do. Pretty decently sized sinks. You have Clarence soaps, as you can see, and then you will also find the toilets. I personally love the Clarence products. They're very luxurious, and it's also Parisian company. Once I checked out the bathrooms, I decided to check out more of the lounge's main level, which has a lot of restaurant-style seating, and there's a pretty impressive drink selection of both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. A pretty impressive selection of caffeinated beverages as well, and as you can see, there's some French wine in there. We have some sodas, ginger ale and Sprite, and then we also have a coffee machine with hot water for tea. The food spread in this lounge is quite impressive. There's a really good selection of cheese and other dairy products such as yogurt, smoothies, and cheesecake. There's also a decent selection of meats, including salami. You'll find some butter, some other meat and dairy products, rice, and there's also a salad buffet, as you can see. In the lounge, I opted for a single baguette, a slice of brie, as well as a quiche, and a cheesecake. Now, this was a lot of food, so I didn't end up finishing all of it, but I would have to say that everything that I tried was really good, as well as this smoothie. Now that we already had a pretty good look at what the lounge has to offer on the main level, let's have a look at the upstairs level up above. To get upstairs to the upper part of the lounge, you can either take the stairs or there's also an escalator. Just look at that beautiful pattern of the Air France logo. I think that classic Air France stripe really suits it well. Anyways, now let's start off our overview of upstairs. As you can see, you'll still find a pretty good view of what's downstairs, which is actually quite similar, plenty of comfortable seating. A lot of it is restaurant style, as you guys could notice, which makes sense given that Paris is Air France's largest hub, and Paris is really known for its fine dining and restaurants. The food options are quite similar as to what you'd expect downstairs. Some of it is a little bit different, but most of it is similar or exactly the same. And the drink selection of beverages is also quite similar with both the alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. There's a coffee station, as well as plenty of tea. The selection of palais de teas in the lounge is quite impressive. Upstairs, there's plenty of comfortable seating, and it's also kind of quiet like what you'd expect downstairs. I haven't seen any airport lounge offer Claire spa treatments where they have like facials and stuff. Let's have a look around, given that there's no one here. So as you can see, they have several rooms where they do like facial treatments and stuff, and there's this area where you could like relax. And it's pretty nice, luxurious space. Cool to have in an airport lounge. As far as I'm concerned, I'd say that that's a 3.5 star lounge, the Air France lounge here in New York, but as much as I'd love to stay, gotta go board my flight to Paris Charles de Gaulle. A close-up view of this Air France 777 would definitely be an aviation enthusiast's dream, and the boarding commenced through 2 jet bridges as shown, one of which was for first class and the other was for business, premium, and economy class. The crew knew that I'd be filming today's flight, so they let me get a sneak peek of the first class cabin and allowed me to board through the first class entrance. As shown, this is the La Premiere first class cabin. Looks very elegant and stylish, kind of like the vibes of a Parisian apartment. Very luxurious. Now I'm seated in the business class cabin as shown, which is still very beautiful, and it just looks really spacious. Air France's business class layout in terms of seating on the 777 is quite impressive, and they're arranged in a spacious 1-to-1 configuration. However, there are lots of seats in this business class cabin, and normally when flying in business class, I do appreciate the privacy, but honestly, this feels a little cramped. Airlines such as American and Cathay Pacific offer similar business class seats on their 777-300s. Upon boarding, each seat is stocked with a pillow, coat hanger, and blanket. Bedding Air France provides is actually quite comfortable. And anyways, let's do a comprehensive seat tour, starting off with the in-flight entertainment display, which pops out towards you with one push of a button as shown. You can easily put it back into its position by simply sliding it forward. There's also a coat hook for your coat hanger, footrest, plenty of space underneath the seat in front of you for shoes and bags. Moving on to our side, you'll find the safety card where the in-flight literature is stored. This is actually the only in-flight literature. We also have a air sickness bag, a bottle of water, Evian, actually the same company Emirates uses, universal plug, USB on the right-hand side or even the left-hand side of the seat depending on where you're seated, and a drinks table, seat controls, and the tray table easily pops out from that side of the seat. You can easily move it during meal times. There's a ring light, remote control for the IFE system, and more storage space, which is where the headphones are stored and locked in. There's also a mirror, and moving on to our side, finally, we have the armrest, which can be lowered in the down position, as well as the adjustable headrest, and I found this to be very comfortable throughout the flight. So all in all, pretty nice seat. Air France's business class headphones are found in this little storage cubby and are of excellent quality. I found them comfortable to wear throughout the flight. I do have to mention that I don't really like the airbag-equipped seatbelt in Air France's business class seats on the 777 because it kind of feels a little bit tight, especially when you're trying to sleep. And here's the amenity kit provided by Air France, which was handed out before pushback. The amenity kit contents consist of a pair of socks, a toothbrush, an eye mask, earplugs, a pen, and we have the Clarins spa products, which consist of the cream, Clarins hand cream, I believe it was, and then we also have the Clarins lip balm and the Air France toothpaste, as you can see, to accompany the toothbrush. So all in all, this is a well-stocked amenity kit. However, the exterior of the amenity kit is definitely a lot better than the interior. I'll have a glass of orange juice, thank you. Prior to pushback at JFK, pre-departure beverages were handed out, for which I opted for a glass of orange juice. Cheers. It's nice to see what different airlines do with their safety videos, and Air France is the best one I've seen. It honestly feels like a city tour through Paris, rather than an actual airline safety video.
The seatbelt sign is off. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened and visible at all times while sitting.
Pour détacher votre ceinture, soulevez la partie supérieure de la boucle.
to release the seatbelt, just need to buckle.
Pendant le roulage, le décollage et l'atterrissage, veuillez redresser votre siège, ranger le porte-monnaie, la tablette et les repose-jambes. Pensez également à ouvrir le cache de votre mur, votre masque ajusté, il vous sera possible d'aider d'autres personnes.
Make sure your whole mask is well adjusted before helping other passengers.
C'est dans les non-fumeurs
This is a non-smoking flight.
et l'usage de la cigarette électronique n'est pas autorisé. Les issues de secours sont situées de chaque côté de la cabine, à l'avant, au centre, à l'arrière.
Emergency exits are located on each side of the cabin. At the front, in the center, and at the back.
L'emplacement de votre gilet de sauvetage est indiqué sur une étiquette devant vous.
Location of your life jacket is clearly marked by a sign in front of you.
Passez la tête vers l'opposé. Attachez et serrez le cintre.
Place it over your head and hold the straps tightly around your waist.
Une fois à l'extérieur de l'avion, gonflez votre gilet en tirant sur la poignée rouge.
Inflate your life jacket.
Even though this was my first time with Air France, seeing that Qatar A350 made me miss their QC. Alright, now that we are airborne, let's have a look at the Air France in-flight entertainment system, which pops out with one push of a button. You can either use the touch screen, or you can use the remote at the side of the seat. Now, once the main screen appears, you're going to have to select your language, as you can see, and then you can browse the in-flight entertainment system all you want through the touch screen or the IFE remote. And now let's have a look at the selection of entertainment Air France has, which is quite impressive. Of course, there are no special features that Air France has with its in-flight entertainment, like what you'd expect on Emirates or Qatar Airways. However, the selection of movies is just quite impressive, and even though this is only a 7.5-hour flight, you would not have a hard time finding something enjoyable to watch on a 13 or even 14-hour flight with Air France. In terms of movies and TV shows, you can easily view new releases, as well as cartoons and all sorts of genres. There's even Hollywood and Chinese movies. You can even find movies in Arabic and all sorts of languages, as you can see, which is quite impressive on an airline. After takeoff, the menu cards and hot towels were handed out. I personally love hot towels. They're one of my favorite business class amenities, and it's a nice way to refresh before having a meal. Before the meal service commenced, I decided to go and check out the lavatory. Starting off with the sink, let's go for a tour of the lavatory. We have some soap, which is Air France branded. We also have a baby changing table. This is a pretty nice and spacious lavatory so far. Lots of room for your head up above. We have the Clarins spa products, which is what Air France uses for their cosmetics that they provide in business class. We have the toilet, lots of room for your head up there, and we also have a light. All in all, I'd say that this is a pretty nice lavatory, as you can see. Let's have a look at this aircraft's cabin. On the Boeing 777, Air France's economy class cabin is laid out in a 343 configuration, and premium economy class is laid out in a 242 configuration, as you can see. A saying I've always believed in is quality, not quantity, and that's basically what the Air France business class menu is. Even though there aren't that many food options to choose from, the selection is just oh so impressive that you just have to love it, especially considering that Air France's business class food is from Michelin star chefs. 2 meals will be served on this flight: dinner right after departure, and before arrival in CDG, breakfast. Feel free to pause the video for a closer look at the menu. Given that this is a French airline, there's obviously a selection of French wine available, and that for today's flight was no exception. On this flight, there was a selection of champagne, white wine, and red wine available for the adult travelers. And feel free to pause the video for a closer look at this. And those are not the only alcoholic beverages available on today's flight. There are also aperitifs and digestives. Feel free to pause the video for a closer look. I wasn't really impressed by the non-alcoholic selection of beverages on Air France. They don't really have the best selection of soft drinks, and there are also not even any mocktails, which is not really that impressive. Or maybe I just have high expectations after having already flown Qatar Airways and Emirates, 2 of the best business class airlines in the world. The selection of hot beverages on this flight consists of coffee, hot chocolate, and tea. Service commenced after departure, and for drinks, I ordered an apple juice and a glass of water. About an hour after takeoff, the meal service commenced, starting off with dinner, and the only appetizer was this fennel and shrimp salad, and even without the shrimp, the salad itself was very refreshing and delicious. This was definitely one of the best airplane starters I've had. We also have another salad, trio dessert miniatures, the cheese course, as well as some butter, olive oil, and the cutlery on the side. In addition to the salad course, bread rolls were also handed out. Everything here was really refreshing. I found it kind of unusual how the entree was served by itself and not with the appetizers, cheese course, and the dessert, because with many other airlines that serve their meals on one tray, everything is served on that one tray, including the entree. However, this pasta dish, which had arancini and butternut squash, was very delicious. After enjoying the entree, I decided to enjoy the cheese course, which consists of 3 French cheeses. Now, I personally do love French cheese, and I find it to be very delicious. However, I'm really sad that there were no crackers or even a side of fruit and nuts provided with the cheese, while on many other airlines in business and first class even, they provide that as a side in addition to the cheese. I asked for a cup of green tea to cleanse my palate before having dessert, and I found this to be very refreshing, especially since I do love green tea. I indulged in this gorgeous trio of dessert miniatures for dessert dessert, and I really like how each pastry is small and it looks carefully detailed. We have the strawberry macaron, some sort of mango passion fruit pastry, as well as this chocolate pastry. It was all very delicious and good quality. It turns out that in the galley, there's this wine bar kind of situation, which has all sorts of French wines, some water, and even a few non-alcoholic beverages, actually, and you'll also find some cheese crackers. I grabbed a couple of these throughout the flight, and they were very delicious. After indulging in a bunch of solids and liquids, a nap is necessary to digest those sugars and turn them into fats. And with that said, let's check out the bed, and the one on Air France is actually pretty comfortable in business class. As far as the bedding comes, here in Air France's business class, you're provided with a singular pillow, which is quite comfortable, as well as a singular blanket. I do find the bedding on some of Air France's SkyTeam partners, such as Delta, to be a bit more comfortable. A cool feature about this business class seat is that you can easily lower the armrest in the down position to allow for more space when sleeping. This seat performs well in terms of legroom, and there's plenty of space for your legs to stretch out while sleeping. I managed to get some pretty good business class sleep before arrival in CDG. After I told the cabin crew I had a first fantastic business class experience with Air France, they gave me this little keychain as a nice little souvenir to thank me for flying with Air France. And shortly after that, the pre-arrival service commenced, starting off with hot towels, which were provided by our friendly cabin crew. Less than an hour before arrival in CDG, breakfast, which is the pre-arrival meal on this flight, was served. For my beverage choices, I opted for a sparkling water and a decaffeinated coffee. The French breakfast on Air France in business class consists of a brioche bread and a plain croissant served with the Air France butter. In addition, there was also a yogurt, some fruit, as well as a packet of granola to go along with it. I'm happy to say that the French breakfast in the skies is very delicious, and it was beautifully presented, except for the fact that the meal was served on a tray. That is decaffeinated, but it's very strong. We have about 45 minutes before arrival in CDG, so I thought we'd make over the concluding thoughts right now. The Air France lounge was good. I'd give it 3.5 out of a possible 5 stars. It doesn't have the best ambiance, but also not the worst. It spans 2 floors and it's really large, and it feels like a space in which you'll truly want to spend a lot of time in, though I wouldn't call it outstanding. You'll find plenty of comfortable seating and a few dozen or so food options from the buffet. Not that many, but also not too little food to help yourself at the Air France lounge in JFK. The seat is a reverse herringbone business class seat on Air France's 777. You can also find similar seats on Air France's 787-9 Dreamliner and 777-200. Though I haven't flown any of those 2 aircraft so far with Air France, I've only done the -300, which I'm currently on now. The seat is great. Now, I do like these seats. They're very plush, very pretty, and very comfortable to sit in. Even though this is only a 6.5 to 7 hour flight, I wouldn't mind spending 14 or even 15.5 hours in a business class seat like this. And it's that comfortable. There's a lot of space to store your stuff, and I really like the tray table design because it allows you to get out of your seat even during meal times because you can easily push it back into its hole. So the seat earns about 4 stars, I would say. The food on Air France is really good. Air France business class catering is provided from Michelin star chefs, though the non-alcoholic drink selection leaves a lot to be desired, with no mocktails or iced teas. Maybe if they just added a few more beverages, Air France would have a really good non-alcoholic drink selection. And as far as the food comes, quality over quantity, really good. So I'd give it 4.5 stars. I would give it 5 stars if it were served restaurant style like other airways, but sadly it's served on a tray, which I don't generally like, so alas, that puts it down to 4.5. The in-flight entertainment is great. I give 3 stars. It's an IV system from what you could expect from any other airline, with good selection of movies, TV shows, and I found it to be very responsive. It definitely doesn't have the best selection, and it's not that easy to search for what you want, because you can spend the entire flight searching for what to watch. And most importantly, the service. The crew were pretty social, pretty engaging. I would like to give a big thank you to the crew on this flight for putting up with my filming. And I'd like to talk about flights from JFK to CDG with Air France. So Air France is a whopping 6 daily flights from New York to Paris, 5 of which are on the 777-300, 1 of which is on the 777-200. I was on the 4th flight of the day, which was AF7, operated by a 777-300ER. The first flight is on a -200, and it's AF9, followed by AF23, followed by AF15, then AF7, and then so on and so forth. And Air France actually retrofit 12 of their 777s with a new business class suite, which I hope to experience someday because I've heard it to be a very swanky and very amazing business class product with privacy doors even, and that's on AF15. So that's the flight that leaves at 5:30 p.m. It's actually the Air France flight that left right before this one. I can definitely see Air France have a really good business class product. There are a few areas in which it needs to improve. So the seat layout is incredible. The only bad thing I have to say about it is that the cabin feels a bit cramped given the large number of seats. And there's actually a mini cabin, so maybe the next time I fly Air France business class on the 333, I'm going to try to book a seat in the mini cabin. Anyways, that's it for the concluding thoughts today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I had a fun time shooting it. I'm really excited to review more European airlines, and I'm really happy that I'm able to share my experience with Air France. When I'm coming back from Paris to New York, I'm actually flying Delta Airlines, and they are Delta One suites. That review's going to be coming up soon, I promise. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the following landing footage. as you can see, here's the better look at the mini business class cabin, and compare it in terms of privacy to the larger business class cabin, which is where I was seated. And of course, we can't forget out the incredible Air France La Premiere first class cabin. This looks super luxurious, and I hope to try it out someday, but for now, we'll have to stick with business. It's always a real treat to have glass beverages, something that you can't find that common in the United States, which is more common in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. And I really appreciate this feature of CDG Airport. Upon arrival in CDG, I was required to go through customs and immigration, but I wasn't going to do so before saying goodbye to our 777, and as you can see, the airport terminal offers a really good view of the aircraft. Bye guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of Air France Business Class. Stay tuned. I'm going to have lots of content coming from this France trip. And more importantly, I'm really excited to compare Air France Business Class to Delta One Suite. And with that said, bye guys. Leave a comment if you feel like it, and don't forget to like the video as well.